Now, to make these systems, we buy an original set of cartridges, we make modifications to them, attach all the tubes and clamps. So within here you've got equivalent of around 11 black cartridges and 33 colours, and then you've got another 2 cartridges here, so you've got equivalent volume of around 46 cartridges. So you can work out the maths and work out how much you're actually going to save from buying this system. So about a third of our cost is involved in just buying the original ink cartridges to make the system. We can't buy, or we can't find any remanufactured ones, or we can't find enough of them to make these systems. So for reliability, we basically buy a full set of originals to do that. So when the continuous ink system arrives, what you need to check is, have you got any air in your lines? If you've got more than about 4 inches of air in your lines, you will need to carry out the following procedure. So within your accessory pack, you'll have a syringe, and then you'll have a sharp needle. It can be a blue one like this, or a small brown one. You need to put that onto the syringe. Now, to prime the system, you need to make sure that you haven't removed the orange tags from the bottom of your cartridges. This has to be done, but the first thing you need to do. So you'll note on the side there's a feed roller here. This moves up and down, so you need to make sure that that is in the up position to prime this system. Has to be in that position or it's not going to work. So to prime it, you gently insert the needle through the large plug. Now, making sure that it doesn't touch the ink inside, you draw back on the syringe, and then when you've done, you expel the air. You repeat the process again, just using a different hole somewhere else within the plug. You draw back, pull it out, expel the air, and then for the last time, on the third time, you draw back, you pull it, and then you separate the plunger from the syringe. So what's actually happened is you've created a vacuum inside. Basically you'll hear some gurgling, and you'll see the ink shooting down the line, and you'll see that the air's been removed and it will be full all the way to the cartridge. So you'll repeat that process for all of the other colours that have got more than about 4 to 6 inches of air in the line, and that's how you prime the system if you've got that. So on top of the continuous ink system, you've got 8 plugs. You've got 4 large plugs, so these are your refill holes. To refill the system, you'll just take this large plug out, and you can either pour the ink in or use the syringe provided and inject the ink straight in. I must say that when you do the priming with a small sharp needle, do not use this needle that's in the packet. That is for refilling. If you pierce the plug with that long needle, it won't recover. You must use the small sharp needle. So now we're going to proceed to install the continuous ink system. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to raise the lid on the printer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the camera a bit so you can get a better shot, or you can see a bit more clearly exactly what I'm doing. So within your accessory pack, you'll find, I need to take this clamp off because that's how it will arrive to you. So within your accessory pack, you'll have a clamp like this. It's a double bent over clamp that will fit in about there. You need to attach that first to the ink line itself. So the actual placement of this is quite crucial, this clamp. It needs to be 22.5 centimetres from this point here to here. So get a ruler and measure it. It needs to be 22.5 centimetres from the edge of this clamp on the cartridge here. I think you can see that, the edge of that to the edge of the clamp at this position here. It is all detailed in the manual, so you can see that anyway. So what I'm going to use is I should have a screwdriver with me, but I haven't, so I'm going to use this needle, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up the clamp. When you insert it into there, it actually opens up the teeth on the black clip, and that will open it enough for me to slide the ink line into place. So the actual placement of this clamp, I'll show you. You get yourself a nice round loop like so, like in that position. Let me just check you can actually see that on the camera. Yes, you can. So it's always advisable to put some tissue down underneath your cartridges. I know there's a little bit of ink coming out of these, and that's because I've already fitted the system. I've already removed the orange tape. I've just tried to put a bit more back on. So we need to fix this clamp now to the system. So we'll actually get fitted like this. So you've got a nice loop, and then it will come round and it will be fitted like that. So we need to open up the teeth on this system and then slide the cartridge clamp in. So I'm going to open it up slightly. I don't think this is really going to do the job, but you do have a screwdriver in your accessory pack which should do the same job as well. So no, it's not really suitable, so I'm just going to get a screwdriver to open that cartridge clamp up. So I have a screwdriver here now, so I'm going to insert this, and as you can see, the teeth on the cartridge block, they've opened right up now. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to be able to slide my ink line into place. So what I've actually done on this system is I've made a small mark on the ink line, so I know exactly where it is at 22.5 centimetres. So that bit is quite crucial. It must be there. So I've done the clamp. Coming off the cartridges, you've got a nice loop, and then you've got this clamp here. So the next thing, I'm going to drop the lid down, or the front lid bit. I'm going to lift up the grey caps. So what I also need to do at this point here is I need to pull the power out of the printer, because when I insert the cartridges, I don't want the print head to move, which is quite common. It will actually do. So I'm going to disconnect the power now. And that is the purpose of that, is just to keep the print head in one place. So, and then going to remove the orange tape from the cartridges, which has been done a few times already on these. And then I'm going to pop these cartridges straight into the machine. So when you push the grey clamps down, you don't really feel anything on the black one, but it is quite common to feel a little bit of pressure on the colour one. Don't worry about it. As long as the ink lines aren't trapped, it will just close down on top of it like so and work perfectly normal. So you need to remove the green backing tape from your clamp. And then if you look here, you've got a little ridge here, and then you've got another small flat surface just at the bottom of this, and then it goes down again. So you need to put this clamp in the centre of this small flat area and push it down firmly. Alright, so that's the placement of the clamp. So one thing to check in here is that your ink line isn't touching your ink ribbon cable at the back. If it is, you just need to point the hose downwards slightly, move it within the clamp so that it's not touching. So that bit's okay. So what we need to check now is the alignment, or basically the ink line adjustment can move freely from right to left and left to right without snagging. So we're going to manually push it over to the left, and then we're going to manually slide it back over to the right hand side. And I would repeat that process a couple of times, just checking that the ink line is not getting trapped or being caught anywhere. So as long as it can reach all the way over to the left and all the way over to the right. So if you need to make an adjustment, you can actually pull this ink line through the clamp. So if you pull it to the right, it will make the loops shorter, and if it's short, it won't be able to reach the left hand side. If you push it to the left,